Hi folks, it's been TAS month. Lots of good stuff has been happening with the Red Ball tool assisted speedrun. Now what have I been doing for TAS month? Why, tying the TAS in real time, of course. The genesis of this video is an idea I had early this year where I would describe the individual level records that were so easy, they were free. Well, they're not free anymore. But still, there are 7 levels where the record RTA time either matches or is within just a few frames of the TAS. Levels 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15, and 16. We'll eliminate level 4 for now because it's 4 frames off and a little nuts. The remaining levels, however, all have a TAS tie for their RTA record or fall just 1 frame short. When I got home in September, I only had 1 TAS tie left, and that was level 1. But everyone has tied the level 1 TAS, right? Not quite. I am, to my knowledge, still the only person who has tied that TAS right down to the exact subframe time. That was a perfect level 1. Now what should I add to my TAS tie collection? You may recall from my last video, I started with level 15. Yes. I never went into detail about what went into that untied record and TAS tie, but it was by no means easy. Here's the TAS string which I more or less replicated. The first challenge is this 1 frame release of the right arrow. Fortunately, because we're not above our speed cap, I can replace that with a 1 frame left tap. It's much easier to press a key for a frame than to release one. Next comes this 1 frame turnaround. This is the really hard part. Technically, this is 4 frame-perfect inputs in the span of 2 frames. Release right and press left on frame 25, and then release left and press right on frame 26. Here's where I take advantage of a deficiency in my ancient gaming keyboard. Because of what's known as a keyboard matrix circuit, I can only press 2 arrow keys at a time. So what I do is press the down arrow. Now I have 2 arrow keys already pressed, and I can press left early and it won't be recognized. Then, when I release the right arrow, that already pressed left key will be instantly registered, saving me 1 frame-perfect input. The same would work in reverse, but since it's only 1 frame later, no such luck. Still, 3 frame-perfects is better than 4. With this crazy 5 frame-perfect opening out of the way, we just have 2 more perfectly timed 1 frame jump taps, and the run is achieved. Easy, right? Now you do it. I released that run and was intent on achieving more greatness. I wasn't sure where to go next, but then I was contacted by the TAS royalty. Or is that peasantry? I get them mixed up. They had a quest for me, but we'll come back to that story later. Another level where I needed to tie the TAS was 2, Funny Ball. You may recall that I already tied the TAS for that last February, but over the summer TASers managed to add a new corner boost and save yet another frame. Worse, Roblox A192 had already managed to tie that new TAS. Now I would try to do the same. For a run, Roblox had worked out an RTA viable setup for the new 6.032 second time. Unfortunately, it was kind of hard. It involved 9 frame-perfect key presses or releases. Well, one of them had a 2-frame window, so technically 8. I sat down and worked out an easier setup with just 7. Yay! I had just done 9 on level 15, so it can't be that bad, right? Well, it was. I spent days racking up a nice collection of almost runs without luck. I'd go through them for you, but they all kind of look the same after a while. Here's a neat one. That got the new corner boost, but it didn't exactly work out as intended. The most enticing variant was where I'd get the last jump tap just a frame late. Everything would look right, but I would fall just short on the last platform and end up tying my old record. That happened 3 times. Oh, come on! Oh. After days of spending all my spare time going for this with no luck, I sat down one lunch hour for some more attempts. It took less than 3 minutes. Oh, yes. Finally. That's 3 TAS ties. What's next? Well, level 5, of course. Jump. Level 5 has a neat history which I might make a video about someday, but suffice to say, the best time, which had been thought maxed many times, kept getting lowered. My best time of 3.968 seconds had been beaten, first by Radical Macaroni, then Roblox. Roblox's run was an incredible TAS tie involving no less than 10 frame-perfect key presses or releases. The good news is that it's not really as bad as that sounds. If we look at the TAS string for this level, we first see that there's a 1-frame tap of up and right. Technically, this is 4 frame perfects, but because they're together, we'll just count it as 2. Also, I realized that we can eliminate the 2-frame gap between the left and right presses here and still tie the TAS. Not only is that easier to do, but it means that I can use my keyboard matrix trick again, thus eliminating 1 more frame perfect, making the new total just 7. Now, I'd like to introduce you to a very handy practice hack by Sage. We can convert the goal TAS string into a practice string identifying all the frame-perfect key presses and releases. Then we get a handy display showing us how close we were on our attempts. Circles will appear as we play, and if we get everything right, they will all line up in the center like this. Usually, however, it will look more like this. So I began practicing level 5. This was my first decent attempt, one worth screenshotting. That's the right keys pressed together, but spread out a little more than they should be, and that 1-frame up right tap was 2 frames. The next good attempt had better timing, but those 1-frame taps were too long, and the turnaround was late again. Then I got this, twice. The 1-frame taps are better, but the timing is spread out again. I'm still rather unpracticed at this point and getting fairly scattered results. But in this early mess of practice attempts, I got this one. It's kind of wrong, but it had a surprising result. I recreated it here using the TAS hack for you to see. I got the big double jump to the flag, but at 3.935 seconds, it's still 2 frames short of the TAS. Nonetheless, it's better than my personal best and would have matched Radical Macaroni's time. I kept on practicing, and my results were starting to look better. Almost all lined up here, a frame late, but still. Nice, I hit the opening. Unfortunately, I messed up the turnaround jump. Wow, only missed 1 of the frame perfects. The second jump tap was 3 frames instead of 1. But try as I might, hitting this strategy was proving very difficult. The attempts began to rack up. And up. Bear in mind, these are just the occasional attempts that were good enough to bother to screenshot. I came within 1 frame perfect input of getting it 27 times, and hit the opening 14 times. Auspicious numbers. Then this happened. Oh yes! Finally! I did it. I tied the TAS. But that was in the practice hack. I need to do this in the official IGT edition. But now we come upon the real problem with this IL speedrun. Every single run looks pretty much exactly the same. Normally when doing IL attempts, I get a feel for what can go wrong, I recognize my error, and I try to fix it on my next attempt. That way, each run is probably going to be better than the last. Not always, of course, but in the long run, this is very important. Here in level 5, however, every attempt is a blank slate, relying on the same visual cues and muscle memory as the last. I'm not improving. In fact, I'm probably getting worse. I decided that I would go back and forth between the IGT edition and the practice hack. That should at least keep me from getting too much worse. But now we have more screenshots to view. Yep, lots more. Hey look, I got it again. Then eventually I got this run. Oh yes. Oh no. Don't get me wrong, that was a good run, and a new personal best. I have now tied Radical Macaroni, but at 3.935 seconds, that was not the TAS tie I was looking for. So I kept going. And going. I was getting better, but I can't tell you how frustrating this is without feedback. I got the TAS tie in the practice hack 2 more times. The last one I didn't even bother to record. Eventually it would have to happen. And eventually it did. Finally, I've done it. Yes, I had finally done it. I have 4 TAS ties now. Right? Well, remember that quest I was given a while back? It started with this post from Not Very Good. He had found an easy setup to get 4.806 seconds on level 16. Now, I'm the only person who's actually already got a 4.806 second run for that level, but I figured I might as well try this new setup. I loaded up the practice string in the practice hack and tried it out. I quickly got a handle on it, so switched over to the IGT edition. This is what my attempt session looked like. That's right, I got it in 14 seconds. My original 4.806 was a TAS tie when I got it, and even was at the start of the month, but Bird Banana had improved the TAS to 4.774 seconds by adding a small bonk that reduces our very unfavorable rotation speed as we fall. So the question was, could I tie the new TAS? Unfortunately, while it started reasonably, there was a series of very tricky left taps with rather poor visual references as you fell, and that was to be followed by the same right-left jump which made my original 4.806 so tricky. All told, there were 12 frame-perfect inputs, and they weren't easy. It wasn't going to happen, folks. That is, until Bird Banana, that absolute legend for finding RTA setups, bestowed upon me the full quest with this simple message. Could it be that easy? That looks like it has just 5 frame perfects, the same as the setup that I just breezed through. But wait a minute, that's a Q in there, not an E. So it's not just a quick tap of jump, but a left tap and right release as well for the same frame. Worse, the last input is a switch from right to left, so also involves multiple keys. 5 frame perfects just became 10. But that's okay, we can make it better. Because we're in the air and moving faster than the maximum airspeed of 2.75, I don't actually have to release right for that left tap. I'll have to switch to WASD to do it because of my keyboard matrix limitation, but I'll manage. Actually, I'll use a mix of WASD and arrow keys. And speaking of that keyboard matrix, we can use it for that turnaround after the small bonk. Good, we're back to just 7 frame perfects. Still, multiple one-frame key taps separated by just 2 frames? That's not easy. My first evening of attempts didn't work out so well. This was the closest I got. I got the opening, but did the final turnaround way too early. The next evening, things got off to a much better start. All right. Did I just... What happened there? Yep, I just did better than the whole previous night on my first recorded attempt. I would come that close again several more times. Oh. Closer yet. Come on. I'm getting frustrated. What was that? See? Frustrated. But then, I got it. Okay, yes. Ha 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 ha, yeah. Well, I believe that I got it. But that was just another tie with all those second place people. Turns out that the intended 2-frame gap between those 1-frame taps was actually 3, and that can also be completed to look smooth. It's just not as fast. But I wasn't about to let this quest end. And just a few minutes later... Yes! Yes, 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 I did it! Oh. Quest complete, folks. That's a TAS tie on level 16 and a 2-frame untied world record. TAS month is over now. And while level 3 will have to wait, I have completed all 5 of Red Ball's remaining feasible TAS ties. I am a legend. All hail the Jetman. Wait. What is this sorcery? No! No, 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 no! Ah!